There's a certain comfort in keeping things the way they've always been. The same house, the same subscriptions, the same habits you've had for 20 or 30 years. Nothing wrong with that in principle, except that retirement changes your financial reality, and sometimes the things that made perfect sense when you were working don't make sense anymore. The tricky part is that these money drains are quiet. They're not dramatic or obvious. They're just there, month after month, year after year, slowly eroding resources you need for other things. Today, we're going to walk through 20 things that many retirees hold on to without realizing how much they're costing. This isn't about deprivation or becoming stingy. It's about being intentional with your money, so it goes toward what actually matters to you rather than disappearing into things you've stopped noticing. Let's start with the big one. Literally. The family home you raised your kids in probably felt necessary when you had 3 or 4 people living there. Now it's just you, or you and your spouse, rattling around in all that space. Every square foot costs money. Higher property taxes, higher utility bills, more maintenance, more repairs, more insurance. Your heating and cooling rooms nobody uses. You're maintaining a yard that's become more burden than pleasure. The emotional attachment is real. This is where you built your memories. But memories live in you, not in the building. Downsizing doesn't erase your past, it frees up your present. Selling a 4-bedroom house and moving into a 2-bedroom apartment or smaller home can put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket while cutting your monthly expenses by hundreds. That's real money that could be going toward things you actually enjoy, rather than into maintaining space you don't need. Next is the vehicle situation. Many retiree households have 2 cars because they've always had 2 cars. But if you're not commuting anymore, if you're not driving separately to different jobs every day, do you really need 2 vehicles? Each car comes with insurance, registration, maintenance, and depreciation. Even if one car just sits in the driveway most of the time, it's costing you money. Running one reliable vehicle instead of 2 can save you several $1,000s a year. And if you're in an area with decent public transit or ride-sharing, you might find that you don't need to own a car at all. That sounds radical until you actually calculate what car ownership costs versus occasionally using other transportation. The numbers might surprise you. Then there's the entertainment situation. You might have cable television because you've always had it, even though you mostly watch the same 3 channels. You probably also have Netflix, maybe Amazon Prime, possibly Hulu or Disney Plus, or a couple of others. Each streaming service is $10 or $15 a month, which doesn't sound like much, but 3 or 4 of them plus cable can easily run you $150 a month or more. Sit down and track what you actually watch. Most people find they're paying for way more content than they consume. Pick 1 or 2 services that have what you genuinely watch, cancel the rest, and consider dropping cable entirely if streaming gives you what you need. That's potential savings of $70 or $80 every single month without losing anything you actually care about. Gym memberships are another quiet drain. You signed up years ago with good intentions. Maybe you even went regularly for a while, but now that membership is just auto-charging your credit card every month while you walk around your neighborhood for exercise instead. The gym made sense when you were working and needed a structured environment, but now you might have perfectly good options that don't cost anything. If you're actually using the gym regularly and it contributes to your health, keep it. But if you're paying $40 or $50 a month for something you visit twice a year, that's $600 annually that could be better spent elsewhere. Your cell phone plan probably hasn't been reviewed in years. You might be paying for unlimited data when you mostly use Wi-Fi. You might be on an old plan that costs significantly more than the current options. Phone companies don't automatically move you to cheaper plans. They're perfectly happy letting you overpay. Take an hour to look at your actual usage and compare it to what's available now. Many retirees can switch to much cheaper plans, sometimes cutting their phone bill in half, without losing any functionality they actually use. The same goes for home internet. If you're paying for the fastest tier because that's what you signed up for years ago, but you're just checking email and browsing websites, you probably don't need that speed. Downgrading to a mid-tier plan can save $20 or $30 a month. Magazines and newspapers you don't read anymore are easy to overlook because the charges are small and often annual. But when you add them up, You might have 3 or 4 subscriptions totaling a couple of $100s a year for content that arrives, sits in a pile, and eventually gets recycled without ever being opened. Most of this content is available free or cheaply online if you actually want it. Cancel the subscriptions you're not actively reading. Your coffee table will be clearer, and your wallet will be happier. Storage units are fascinating because people rent them temporarily for some reason, then forget they're paying for them. You're spending $100 a month, maybe more, to store things you don't use and probably don't even remember you have. If you haven't needed to access that storage unit in over a year, you don't need what's in it. The hard truth is that most of what people store isn't actually valuable. It's stuff they couldn't decide what to do with, so they paid to postpone the decision. Rent a truck, go through the unit, keep anything truly meaningful, donate or sell the rest, and stop paying rent on space to house things you'd forgotten existed. That's $1,200 or more per year back in your budget. Lawn services, pest control contracts, HVAC maintenance agreements, house cleaning services, these were all easier to afford when you were working full-time and had less time to do things yourself. Now you might have more time and less money, which means the equation has changed. Maybe you can mow your own lawn or do your own cleaning. Maybe you can handle pest control yourself with products from the hardware store instead of paying a monthly service. This isn't about pride or proving something. It's about being realistic. If physical limitations mean you can't do these things, then paying for them makes sense. But if you're paying for convenience you don't really need anymore, that's money that could be freed up for things that matter more to you. Insurance is another area where money quietly disappears. You might have life insurance policies you took out decades ago to protect your family if something happened to you, but if your kids are grown and financially independent, if your house is paid off, if your spouse would be financially secure from Social Security and other resources, do you still need that life insurance? Term policies can be dropped. Even some whole life policies might make more sense to cash out, depending on your situation. Car insurance is worth reviewing too. If you're driving an older vehicle, you might be paying for comprehensive and collision coverage on a car that's only worth $3,000. You're insuring against a loss that wouldn't be catastrophic. Dropping to liability only can cut your premium substantially. And make sure you're getting every discount available. Retiree discounts, low mileage discounts, defensive driving course discounts, they add up. Supplemental insurance policies, the ones advertised on television for specific conditions or situations, are often poor values. You're paying premiums for coverage that probably overlaps with Medicare and your supplement plan. Review everything with a skeptical eye and cancel what you don't actually need. Then there are shopping habits that made sense in a different phase of life. Maybe you're still buying clothes regularly, even though your wardrobe is already more than adequate and you're not going to an office every day. Maybe you're still shopping at expensive grocery stores out of habit when discount grocers or bulk buying would save you substantial money. Maybe you're buying brand names when generics are identical. Retirement is a good time to audit your consumer habits and ask yourself honestly what's about comfort or quality versus what's just autopilot. You can often maintain the same quality of life while spending significantly less by being more intentional about where and how you shop. The savings from switching stores, using coupons, buying generic, and just being more mindful can easily amount to a few $100s a month. Bank fees and financial service charges are another quiet drain. If you're paying monthly fees for checking accounts, those shouldn't exist in retirement. There are plenty of banks and credit unions offering free checking with no minimum balance requirements. Investment accounts sometimes charge management fees or advisory fees that made sense when you had complex needs but might not make sense now. If you're paying someone 1% of your assets annually to manage a simple portfolio, that's potentially thousands of dollars a year for very little value. Credit card annual fees are worth examining too. If you have a rewards card with a big annual fee, but you're not using the benefits enough to justify it, switch to a no-fee card. Every fee you eliminate is money that stays in your account instead of going to a corporation. This one's sensitive, but it needs to be said. Charitable giving and gifts to family members are generous and meaningful, but they need to align with your current financial reality. If you're still giving away the same amounts you gave when you were earning a full salary, But now you're on a fixed income and struggling yourself. Something's out of balance. You can't pour from an empty cup. It's okay to reduce donations or give your time instead of money. It's okay to set boundaries with family members about what you can and can't afford to give. Being financially responsible to yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. People who truly care about you don't want you sacrificing your own security to be generous with them. Warehouse store memberships, discount clubs, professional associations you no longer need. Triple a membership when your car already has roadside assistance through the manufacturer. These small annual fees add up. Go through your credit card statements and bank records for the past year and identify every membership or subscription charge. Ask yourself honestly whether you got value equal to or greater than the cost. If not, cancel it. You can always rejoin later if you actually miss it, but chances are you won't. Healthcare is an area where people often spend more than necessary without realizing it. Brand name medications, when generics are available, cost dramatically more for the same active ingredient. Not using manufacturer coupons or patient assistance programs when they're available means paying full price unnecessarily. Refilling prescriptions at retail pharmacies, instead of using mail order through your insurance, can cost you more. Ask your doctor if generic alternatives exist for everything you take. Check whether your prescriptions are better under different Part D plans during open enrollment. Look into patient assistance programs from drug manufacturers. These steps take effort, but they can save you hundreds of dollars a month. Finally, let's talk about all the stuff you're keeping that's not costing you monthly fees, but is costing you in other ways. That exercise equipment you're not using. Those collectibles you thought would be valuable but aren't. Those duplicate kitchen gadgets and tools. They're taking up space and mental energy. Selling items you don't use or need puts money in your pocket today and simplifies your life. You're not going to get rich selling used items, but a garage sale or some listings on Facebook Marketplace can bring in a few hundred or even a few $1,000s, depending on what you have. More importantly, clearing out the excess makes your space easier to maintain and your life easier to manage. There's a real cost to clutter that goes beyond money, but there's also a real financial benefit to converting things you don't use into cash you can use. None of these 20 things is necessarily wrong to keep. The question is whether each one serves you in your current life at a price you can comfortably afford. What made sense at 50 might not make sense at 70. What you needed while working might not be what you need in retirement. Your financial situation has changed, which means your spending should change too. This isn't about deprivation. It's about alignment. It's about ensuring your money goes toward things that genuinely improve your life, rather than just continuing to flow toward things you've stopped really thinking about. When you eliminate the quiet drains, you free up resources for what truly matters. That might be building savings, reducing financial stress, or spending on things you actually enjoy instead of things you're just used to paying for. Go through your expenses with honest eyes. You don't have to tackle all 20 of these at once. Pick 2 or 3 that jump out at you as obvious drains and start there. Each one you address puts more money back in your control. Over the course of a year, eliminating even 5 or 6 of these quiet drains can save you thousands of dollars. That's not nothing. That's breathing room. That's security. That's money serving you instead of you serving old habits you don't need anymore.